Welcome to Hatch Makerstudio. This is our first Maker video and I'm glad you tuned in. Let me just explain what Hatch Makerstudio actually is. This is a place for anyone interested, anyone with an idea, anyone who wants to make something. You can be a beginner, you can be a professional. What matters is you come here, you bring your idea, and we'll figure out how to make it happen with our tools and machines. So today's video is going to be about how we're making furniture for this workshop ourselves with our machines, and we're going to look a little bit into technical details but not too deep. So if you're more interested in the specs and everything, you can come, pay us a visit, we can go more into details. Today is about CNC technology. This is our CNC router, and what we've done with it was a chair. You will see later in the video how this is going to happen. So how do you get started with a project? It all starts with your idea. You need to understand what you want actually, and then you start sketching, you do an online research. Don't be scared to get inspired by other projects from somebody else. It's just going to help you get your own project done. So for example, I'm planning a desk for this computer that's going to sit outside, and I just wanted to know what are the dimensions of everything. So what's the height, what's the width? There are a few standards, but then you're free to figure out everything yourself. So I'm thinking about material. I think since we got the CNC now, probably 15mm plywood would be preferable. And once I'm done with that, I'm gonna put it in the computer, same like the chair, what I did here. Alright, I've been talking about CNC the whole time, and so this is what it actually is. CNC stands for Computer Numeric Control, and what we've got here is a router inside. You can't see it properly right now, but the most important part of this router is the router bit. So this is what revolves super fast at probably like 25,000 revolutions per minute. But for this cut, we used it a bit slower anyways. So this is basically going into the material, going around and cutting out the shapes that I programmed on the computer, like in my CAD/CAM software. And how that works, I'm going to show you now, and then we will see this tool in action, how it's taking the plywood apart. So what we have here is the 3D model of the chair. It took a while to put it all together because you can see that there are like many parts and components. For those who have not worked with Fusion 360 yet, it's an amazing software. I think it's pretty easy to learn and to improve your skills rapidly. So there's a lot of online documentation that I can recommend, maybe later in the comments. But what you see is like basically every single piece is here. So now how do we cut this out of plywood? Of course, I prepared a model where everything is laid flat. So this is how I want to cut it from 15mm plywood. And you see all the different pieces here. But now, how do we tell the machine what to do? So this is where the CAM part comes. CAM stands for Computer Aided Manufacturing. And in detail, what you do is you just program a tool path. So the blue lines you see here, this is where my router is gonna go along like step by step and then lowering down. So it won't cut everything at once because that would be too heavy probably for this tiny tool. So we go in like 3mm step by step. You just always one round, 3mm down. That's what it is. So this file I exported. It's an NC code on a flash disk, and then we're gonna bring it to the machine, and that's what you're gonna see next. How this wonderful machine is cutting out our model. Alright, so once we're done with the cutting, the machine can't do everything, of course. So we still have a few manual steps, like how do we get the pieces then out? We left a little bridge so that they're still connected and won't be flying around while cutting. But then they need to be sanded, and then also we have like tiny little corners that we need to file off, and then we can start with the assembly. So this is an amazing tool, but of course a few manual steps still required to make our chair happen. Watch it. Cool, we got our chair, and it's pretty solid, everything fits together. And this is just one example of what we can do here. So let me just give you a quick tour through Makerstudio and what we got. So maybe you've seen it in the background. This is our cutting plotter. This is where we can cut stickers or other sheet material like cardboard paper. Comes pretty cool. Yeah, it's just like experiment around, be artistic. We got another CNC that's a smaller version. This is what we use to make, for example, formwork, and we can cut other materials as well. Plastic, aluminum could work, but also any kind of plexiglass. Whatever comes to your mind. One of the most important features, of course, in a space like this is a 3D printer. This one can print with PLA and ABS, so we can make nice little models. For example, that was a llama tryout. Okay, didn't come out super perfect, but we've improved on this one. And I think one of the most powerful machines here, and we already had a lot of fun with it, is the laser cutter. So this one is cutting any material like, again, cardboard, plastic, in terms of like PET, acrylic. You can etch on aluminum, you can cut thinner plywood, not the 50 mil that we use for the chair. This is why we have the big machine. So it can etch or cut through. A lot of fun. I've seen architectural model coming out of it, or for example, this is how I made the 1 to 10 model for the chair. So that's it for today. And if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, you're always welcome to come by and have a chat, explain what you want to do. We can see how we can make it happen with all the cool tools, the cool stuff that we have. Just don't be bored, make something.